Boxing Truth here. I had to talk a little bit about Vasyl Lomachenko as he's finally getting some buzz and some recognition which comes from the sensational performance that he just had this past weekend. And there's more interest in his career. People can't wait to see him fight again. One explosive performance like that, and look how it can change a career. And for Lomachenko, the sky's the limit, as there is a lot of options, a lot of fights that can be made, as he's going to be staying at 130-pound division for what his team says for at least one defense, and maybe will flirt with the idea of perhaps moving up to 135 to collect a third strap in just 10 pro fights in order to make more history. However, Bob Arum stated to the media that Lomachenko could perhaps be the next superstar of the sport, the next Manny Pacquiao. And of course, it's hard to predict who's going to be a star, or if Lomachenko could be even half the superstar as Manny Pacquiao. But no one expected Manny Pacquiao to be the global icon, the superstar that he was when he first entered the scene in the United States. No one envisioned it. So it's very hard to predict if Lomachenko could do even half of what Manny Pacquiao did. But he has the skill set and the fighting ability, the promotional push, and he's got all the belief in the world from Bob Arum. Bob Arum, he is a big bullshitter, no doubt. But he ain't bullshitting about Lomachenko. He's truly infatuated with Lomachenko's skills and his ability in the boxing ring. Stuff that he's doing at only 28 years of age. I mean, Manny Pacquiao changed the game when he figured out his fighting style and his mastery and his angles, his movement. But it took him a long time to get to that level. He changed the game with the way he was able to punch on the fly and punch off angles and constantly turn his opponents. And when you watch both Lomachenko and Manny Pacquiao fight, I'm reminded. Lomachenko reminds me a little bit of Manny Pacquiao. That perhaps maybe Lomachenko was watching some film growing up, as he's incorporated some of Manny Pacquiao's tricks and movements with his feet, his footwork, and you see the great balance Lomachenko displays in the ring, and he's also punching while moving, angles, side steps, and in these pivots with his footwork that's very reminiscent of Manny Pacquiao from the southpaw stance. Manny Pacquiao changed the game with his footwork and his ability, and perhaps Vasyl Lomachenko might take it to another level, as at 28 years of age, he's like he almost figured it out with his balance, his distance, and also the ability to punch while moving from angles and just schooling his opponents by turning them and keeping them off balance, getting away, hitting his opponents and escaping while also in the pocket, staying in punching range. Perhaps he's a little ahead of Manny Pacquiao at this stage, because Manny Pacquiao, it wasn't always like that for him. When he was coming up, he didn't have that type of footwork. He was still maturing and growing as a fighter, figuring out how to become a better fighter. It took some L's to make him a better fighter, to make adjustments and to become better at everything. His right hooks, his footwork, his defense. Manny Pacquiao became a better fighter as time went on, but Lomachenko might be ahead of his learning curve, because at 28 he's already got it on like he's already doing the things that Manny Pacquiao was doing by the time he fought Oscar De La Hoya in his first welterweight fight. And Manny Pacquiao was almost 30 years old when that fight happened. So Lomachenko is going to probably be getting only better and better. And he's saying that he needs more fights. He needs to be more active. And it's up to Bob Arum and Top Rank to keep this guy as active as possible. He can't be fighting just 2 times a year. That just stunts the growth of a fighter, especially at the top level. They need to be a little more active than that. 3 fights at a minimum. A fighter of Lomachenko's ability should be fighting to keep sharp, to keep to keep as sharp as possible, and not to go get stale and not being as active as he can be. But for Lomachenko, he's got a lot of options at 130. Of course, they're going to be gunning for the Salido rematch. Salido's looking like a legend right now. He's looking like a GOAT because he has a win over Lomachenko, despite all the bullshit involved in the fight. But the second time around, Lomachenko looks like he's really improved from that fight. That he's gotten better and better, albeit in a different division, where division that's more natural for Lomachenko. And you could just see it. Even Salido can tell that, he might get trashed in a rematch with Lomachenko, but you still have to fight the fights. It's a fight that, Lomachenko needs to right that wrong, avenge that loss, the only loss of his professional career. Just like he avenged his only loss in the amateurs twice, he can, return the favors to Salido in a rematch. And also, he could move up to 135 for a fight, and also go back down, up and down in weight divisions, as they're talking about. His team is talking about they're not going to just stay in one division. Maybe they'll compete at 35 for a fight or two, then come back down for 130. It really depends on what the most attractive fights out there. But there are some fights for him at 135 as well. He could fight the winner of George Leonara's Anthony Crolla. That'd be a significant fight. He could also perhaps fight Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko is the fight in the future. If Mikey Garcia can get his shit together, get back in the ring, get a couple of good wins, that fight could really be very significant fight at lightweight between Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko, because both of those guys fought similar opposition. They fought the same opponents. One guy struggled in Lomachenko against Salido, and Mikey had pretty much a dominant time with him until he got headbutted and quit. And pretty much just settled for the decision. And then Lomachenko absolutely schooled and destroyed Rocky Martinez, and Mikey had some trouble with Roman Martinez. He got dropped in the fight, but he did stop him. So that's a fight definitely that can be built for the future, as Mikey is still mulling his options on whether he's gonna be promoted by Heyman and Mayweather, the TMT label, or he will sign a deal with Golden Boy. And from what I read, he should really consider the deal with Golden Boy, as not only will he just be signed, be promoted by them, he'll also be a partner of theirs, where he'll get a lot more control of his own career compared to signing a deal with Heyman and Mayweather Promotions. But that's definitely a fight for the future. It doesn't matter who Mikey signs with. If the Top Rank and Heyman are working, willing to do some matches, then fine, whatever. But I'm just saying, from what I read, I think Mikey should consider the Golden Boy deal. It just sounds like a better deal to me from what I read. But Lomachenko is one of the fighters right now that's buzzing from that performance this past Saturday night. A lot of people are talking about him, see him as the best at 130, despite only one fight in the division. He's definitely, with the eye test and the skill set, the credentials, he definitely looks the best fighter at 130 pounds, but he has to prove it. He wants to make history by winning a third belt in just 10 pro fights. He's willing to just make one defense at 130, hopefully the Salido rematch, then move up to lightweight, grab a strap against whoever that may be, and then continue moving back up and down, either 130, 135, to see where the biggest fights out there that could be made for Vasyl Lomachenko, but Bob Arum thinks this kid can beat anybody in the world around his weight class. But y'all let me know what y'all think. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.